It's a fascinating continent, rich with resources, scenery, exotic cultures, and big game. For adventure travel enthusiasts, Africa is an exciting premier destination. On the flip side, Sub-Sahara Africa is home to 2/3 of the world's population living with HIV/AIDS, according to the World Health Organization. 12 million African children are orphaned by UNICEF estimates because of a parental AIDS epidemic.
The African nations cannot solve the orphans' problem by their own because of the poverty. By that I mean the lack of financial capability to tackle that problem. But another reason is that the governments, African governments, they have many priorities, including clean water and sanitation, education and infrastructure, and many other. The African nations may really know how to solve this orphans crisis problem, but they need for sure the external help.
Several NGOs are in Africa to improve the plight of orphans. One American faith-based NGO is International Cooperating Ministries, or ICM. Headquartered in Hampton, Virginia since 1986, ICM has funded the construction of more than 4,000 churches and church orphanages in 63 developing countries. They work through partnerships with indigenous ministries.
The essence of partnership is that the local ministry brings their nation, their culture, their language and their skills to the table. ICM brings the funding, the model to build and to grow their ministries effectively. ICM has worked with 32 local ministries within 24 countries in Africa, and to date we've built or have under construction over 1,000 projects throughout the continent.
In Tanzania, the highest concentration of AIDS is found in the region of Bukoba, located in the northwest on Lake Victoria. ICM has partnered with a Tanzanian ministry here to fund the building of church orphanages. With great pride, they are constructed from the ground up by the villagers themselves.
At this point, the rural church community takes over. These people know the children. They know their needs, they know their past, they know where they've come from, and they have the ability to provide food, clothing, healthcare. Most importantly, they provide love and hope to these precious children.
The structure typically serves as both a Christian community church where rural villagers congregate daily and a permanent home and school for 50 orphans at any given time. Both congregants and children are often transformed as their basic needs are met under this roof.
Mostly, the orphans live in the streets, and that one turns out to be a burden to the villagers. And so when the church orphanages are built into the villages, it really helps to solve and to carry that burden with the villagers, because those orphans are taken into the church orphanage and they are taken care of while they live there. As a result, their lives are transformed with hope and love because their needs are met. Their needs such as education, health, and food and clothing.
I studied very hard in order to get a good life. And then when I will talk about this church, it is a good church, and they can get your food, shelter, and other things which are needed, which they can get from their parents who are already dead.
ICM's ministry model has had a positive impact in rural AIDS-infected areas. Providing orphan care within a faith-based environment has given hope to Africans who had none.
The community is responsible to provide the land, the sweat equity to build the building, and once the building is complete, the operational costs in order to maintain the facility. ICM works with church leaders who have a vision for their nation and the ability to plant churches throughout Africa.
By partnering with indigenous ministries to save lives and train future leaders, a community can be transformed and a nation can be saved.
For as little as $10 a square foot, we can build a church orphanage such as this. We guarantee that 100% of the funds that you designated towards any specific project will go towards that project. We would invite you to be part of the wonderful vision that we have to blanket the continent of Africa with local churches and church orphanages.
The mission of International Cooperating Ministries is really quite simple, but profound. We assist church growth worldwide. We don't do it ourselves. We work with indigenous partners all over the world. And we nurture believers with a Bible study program. And we reach out to orphans and others in less fortunate situations so that we can help bring them to Christ in partnership with our ministry brothers and sisters all over the world. That's what we do. And that's how we reach out to the world. And that's our part in trying to transform nations. You know, in the book of Matthew, in the New Testament, we read that Jesus wanted his disciples to go out and to make disciples and to build his church around the world. That wasn't just the assignment for the original 12 disciples. That was the assignment for all of us 2,000 years later. And International Cooperating Ministries is fulfilling that great commission by assisting church growth worldwide and nurturing believers.
For more information, contact International Cooperating Ministries at 1-800-999-3892 and visit icm.org.